Welcome to the Bougie Black Brother Network. Good evening and welcome to Repo Rethink Politics, where the crew gets together and discuss the things going on locally, internationally, and sometimes in your own backyard. And I have my co-host, Yee. What's going on, brother?
Just living. Actually got back from a wedding a few days ago. So
People are still getting married.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Good for them.
Yeah, I went back to Hampton, Newport News. So it was a good little trip, but back in church.
How was the weather down there, though? Because, there's flooding like everywhere. But
but it was beautiful that day. They had it was old high school friend, so it was nice.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah.
Still in contact. Look at you.
And we got other co-host, Chaz, NWA today. What's going on?
So the reason I'm NWA is because I got an attitude. I got a ticket for allegedly doing a rolling stop instead of a full stop.
Oh, okay.
My exit I use almost every day. Ain't that a bitch?
You should get a warrant. That's some bullshit, man. I mean, rolling stop.
It was my age, so what can I say? Protect and serve. So thanks, police.
Thanks.
You had to give them points. That's all that was.
That's what I told him. I was like, thanks. And I drove away.
That's all you can say.
And then I hit the same turn I was going to make anyway.
The same thing. If you would have said anything other than that, get out of the car, black man.
He was black, though,
Well, that's the cops, though. This ain't even a racial thing. Nah. It's a police force thing. It's
police force.
Yeah.
It's like a fraternity out there.
Exactly. But speaking of police force, let's go with the Space Force agenda. So
I keep laughing when I hear
we laughing, but it's just, are you kidding me? But
I want to jump on this one. So, I was talking to, from Welcome to the Wall, Bang Bang Boomerang, and he basically was like, "Look, back in the day when the Air Force first came out, I'm sure he was like, people thought, well, that sounds crazy, in terms of how many planes, and all that stuff. In terms of I guess how commonplace and how cost effective it was, or whatever the case." Mm-hmm. So we're seeing Tesla. I'm playing devil's advocate, but we're seeing Tesla do the. Not Tesla. Rocket X.
Mm-hmm. No, SpaceX.
SpaceX. Yeah. My bad.
Mm-hmm. It's Tesla people. Yeah.
Yeah, do the reusable rockets and all. Mm-hmm. And just playing devil's advocate. What if we're on? Well, first of all, look who's in office. They probably told him like, "Yo, this might be some intelligent life." On Tuesday, then on Wednesday, he's like, "Look, Space Force."
Yep.
So it's a combination of available technology and him probably indirectly snitching on intelligence agencies. What if
his ignorant ass? Yeah, but his ignorant ass is he's doing it so he can tell people, guess what? I'll tell the public that there's aliens and people, so you'll remember me as I'm the one who gave you the information. That's all he's doing. He's not even doing it because there's a threat. He's not doing it for anything other than I got some information that I can exploit. So now that I got the information that I can exploit, I can tell you the reason why I want a Space Force. I can't tell you right now. It's going to be a big surprise in season 2.
Oh shit! Talking about after the elections.
Yeah, see, that's what he does.
Oh, so you think is the election sweeps? Is the midterms sweeps?
You can put it that way, but.
So did he say that? Did he say he had information?
No,
or he kind of
it was just like Space Force. And everybody's like, all right, I guess.
Okay.
So all right. So my theory is, I think he's just trying to. Well, first of all, you know me. I think he was trying to change the headlines, and he had that in the back burner. He was like, okay, shit's getting kind of crazy. So
talking about with the immigration thing, the kids.
Yeah. So I think he was using that, but I think the reason why he wanted to bring it out is because eventually it's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. Maybe not now, maybe not 10 years from now, but eventually it's going to. and it's going to be like, oh, but he's the first president to bring it up, you know, and
Yeah,
seriously talk about
that's
it,
him.
and it's going to add to his quote unquote legacy, you know,
Legend.
and right. So, and I'm honestly, I'm one of those nerds where I know all about the different types of jets and everything, and you know, like I'm like, so I'm all for the idea of it, but it's like, are we really talking about that? We have all this other shit going on, like.
Exactly.
I mean, unless you got something to tell us that you're not saying, which kind of goes back to your point, Mike. Like,
Mm-mm.
you
So
know,
I think he has something that the government has just saying it's not a really threat. We know about these things, but right now we don't need to focus on it. To him, it's kind of like, look, can you imagine if I tell people what we know? It's going to be all over the TV and they won't be thinking about Russia. So if I start preparing, because this guy is all about advertising and marketing himself and making him, hey, look, I'm going and we'll move to the Korean thing, but everything that he can do to say, look at me and not what I'm doing, that's the distraction thing. It has some legitimacy. I'm not saying it's not legitimate, but there's some legitimacy in it.
Is it though? I mean,
I believe it is.
came
No,
out of left
honestly.
field. So why today and not tomorrow or the next day?
Because I think, and go back to what he said, there's so much shit that he's doing that's fucked up that he needs distractions. And if you didn't bite off of that, then I have to do something else.
So,
and if you didn't bite off that, I got to do something else.
You know,
smoke screen.
well,
Yep.
I say this was scary on the other side. So I played devil's advocate before, saying, well, on one hand, what if this is amazing new shit, possibly. On the other hand, General Mattis, whatever his name, apparently Trump isn't really fuck with him like that. So the actual military guy is not really being included in strategic decisions.
Yeah.
So Trump is just basically freestyling and fucking with the dude with the mustache.
Pretty much his generals. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? What's his name? Is that Bolton?
Yeah, that's Bolton.
Michael Bolton face.
Because he's saying shit and Bolton's standing in the background like
nodding.
What the fuck? No, his face is like.
Hey, wait! I thought Bolton was crazy though.
That shit. Say what?
Bolton is crazy, but he still disagree. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he's saying shit that they're not agreeing on. So Bolton would show up just like every other Secretary of State and other politicians saying and giving him the right advice. And then when he shows up in front of the camera, he says something totally what he wants. And they're like, that's not what the fuck we discussed.
Okay.
Yeah. That happened with the North Korea.
Exactly.
Whatever the summit or whatever was supposed to happen.
The Philippines.
So
eventually they pushed him back. Like they were like, all right, look, fall back. And they got Pompeo, I think, to do some of the talking in between. And then because like Bolton just stopped. You haven't heard a word from him ever since he brought up the whole what's the L country? Whatever he said that, whatever model.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Iran.
Libya.
Oh, the
Libya.
Yeah. Libyan. Yeah.
The Libya model.
So nobody who agrees with Trump in the White House right about now.
They don't have to.
Stephen Miller.
Oh, that nigga, he's crazy though.
That dude's stupid.
The speechwriter, whatever.
That dude
is scary.
That dude is out there, man.
Yeah,
he's like a fucking ghost or some shit.
Yeah,
he
looks like
he's spirit.
He's a scary dude. Yeah,
psychopath.
Yes, great word.
So segue into the summit. So when y'all looked at that, let's go around the table.
You talking about the G7?
No. Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
There's so much shit.
God.
Which one? Which summit?
Oh my God. Okay,
the
let's
North
do
Korea.
that one.
Okay.
Yeah. No. Let's do the G7. That he was like, let's bring Russia to this motherfucker.
And everybody was like, niggas, you crazy?
You fucking stupid.
Hey, you know what that's like? That's like in the 90s. Somebody like, let's bring Suge Knight to the party. Like, what?
What? Hey, he's part of rap. Come on, what's going on? Motherfucker, you crazy? People will die if he shows up.
Yeah. Literally, Russia kills their spies or whoever.
In all kinds of ways. Yeah. They're journalists, they're spies, they kill everybody. And they'd be like, who, me? What?
Yeah, and it's just we talked about this before. Like if you're under investigation, it's just like, hey, you want him for murder, and then like, hey, let's go to the store to buy some chainsaws and shit. Like, why would you? So if you wanted for collusion for Russia, Why would you be like, "Hey, Russia should be our friend"?
He said, "Buy some chainsaws."
Yeah, that just seems so blatant.
I know.
Yeah.
That is crazy though.
They don't care though.
But the G7 is like, come on now, let's talk through some things. And he was like, "Fuck y'all, no, you're supposed to be listening to me."
Yeah.
And they was like, "Bitches, you crazy?" And there was a picture that I seen that Angela Merkel was like over the desk, like, "Yo, motherfucker," and he's sitting there like
his arms folded like a kid.
Yeah, like and she's
vegetables.
like, yeah,
yeah.
Eat those carrots, goddammit. And I won't. And then he left early because he was like, "Yo, fuck that." And then he sent old girl to the UN to say, leave out of the human rights.
Nikki Haley?
Yeah, Haley.
Yeah.
And he got
just people. It was so not productive.
Yeah.
It was the opposite.
Yeah. She walked out too, right?
No, she pulled. She said they're not even part of that anymore because they don't. Allegedly, they don't like Israel, so we're not going to be part of that.
So, okay, you're talking about the G7?
No, not the G7. The UN human rights.
The human rights thing, yeah. So that's related to the immigration shit that's been going on.
But she centered on how they treat Israel. So her thoughts is that since y'all treated Israel differently, we're gonna step out of that. And they kind of like, that's right. Really? But that was around
because they had those what do you call it? Those riots going on during the summit,
and they was like killing people and stuff.
They were ignoring.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So all of that is, and then you're looking at that, and then the tariffs start kicking in, and then
I don't know where the tariffs came from or why. Because I mean, the modern economy is complex, and people. I mean, it's easier said than done to build everything in America. You know what I mean?
But you don't just say, "Hey, look, everybody's not going to use gas, so by the end of the month, we're taking gas out from everybody."
You had to do phases.
Are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
If phases is communication and saying, "Look, we need to make some compromises because look at the numbers. What can we do to compromise?" But that's not what's happening. And that's what's killing me. And that's what they're saying. Are you kidding me? What if we do that to you? And they was like, "Well, we got to bring him back." He doesn't give a fuck. He don't care. Because he don't know the impact. He's just following a promise that he told people that he would do it, as opposed to what's sensible.
Yeah, and this trade, I mean, I don't know if y'all been watching the markets, but, he's just basically adding volatility into the market.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more risk. And, I mean, it appears there are signs of a recession happening. So if I would think if you're the president and you see signs of a recession happening, you're like, okay, let me not exacerbate it. But them motherfuckers may, push it over the cliff. You know what I mean?
But I don't think he's looking at it in that way. He said, that's not affecting me. What's affecting me is those people who told me to bring jobs back. So that's what I'm going to do. But you're like, yeah, but you're fucking up though. Really?
So what does that look like right about now though? So in terms of that campaign promise, if I'm in fucking West Virginia, what am I doing right now?
Waiting. No, seriously.
For what?
That's all they're doing. They're waiting for the jobs to come back. And it's
funny.
That
like a fucking like it's a divorced husband or something.
Yeah.
Like you went to the store for cigarettes.
Yeah, he left me 2 months ago, but he called and found out that they found him, so he's gonna be back. He's not fucking
it's not
coming back.
Not a fucking lost dog, man. Yeah. I never lost a job and put up a poster.
No, just
found, call me.
Call me if you see my job,
Yeah, like
he's been doing those rallies out there in West Virginia. That's kind of like
so.
He just had a rally too, wasn't it, in Minnesota? He's like he'll find the most whitest, reddest place,
and the one that's complaining the most.
You said the whitest place.
Yeah, the whitest.
When Wesley Snipes goes to date.
That's how you do.
Hey, he's just gonna preach to the choir. He's finding every choir that's singing his song, and he'll show up there.
Well, so I saw this today on LinkedIn, and it said NBAs are getting hired less.
Really?
So it's like by 6%, or it was a pretty marginal percentage, but it was a decrease nonetheless. So if those individuals are getting hired less, what jobs are fucking a blue collar guy can get in West
Service,
Virginia?
service, and
Yeah, so if
retail.
you make 50,000, fucking with coal or whatever, I mean that shit's not coming back.
Cool.
But you can't tell them that, because if the president say it is, and that's the only hope that you have of coming back and making the money that you
But I'm
were
saying
making.
you can put all the tariffs you want, but I mean you saw what Harley Davidson did. They said, well, shit,
Yeah.
we'll just build our shit in Europe.
No,
They'll eat a dick.
I totally agree with you, but we're talking about people who has less education and awareness of what's going on.
I wanna jump into related to this. Y'all see the thing that there's overlap between Trump voters and opioid use, like the little map.
Oh my God, no, I didn't see that.
You see that shit?
No, I didn't see that. Wow.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can find it real
Wow. Nope. Now I believe it though. It makes
It makes
sense.
right.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So
quick. Does it make sense?
no,
Hold
it
on,
does
let me get
make
the proof.
sense.
Yeah.
Because in terms of what we're saying, it's just
It's depression. It's a lot of depression. It's a lot of anxiety.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
Researchers find link between Trump voters and opioids, or opioid use strongly backed Trump in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that goes in line with all the things we were saying about white America. They're losing their jobs. They're trying to find some kind of way to get their mind off of it. It's drinking, finding whatever narcotics,
suicide rates,
suicide,
in white males is the highest.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I think that was
depressed.
16, 17.
Yeah.
They're the highest, demographics of suicide, white males.
I feel like I would hear
Because
more about
a lot
that.
of them don't have jobs. Because you can't tell white people that they're killing themselves because they're not doing well. Because
It
when you
doesn't
look
play
at
into the
white
narrative.
people, automatically it doesn't play into the narrative. Thank you. It doesn't.
Okay, well,
You can't do
in
it.
terms of these terrorists, I mean, I don't know if, I mean, when you see that there's these people in those regions. I mean, they need some assistance, but I don't think promising old jobs that's not going to do it.
No.
Especially, let's say coal does come back.
No.
You don't think a couple years from now they're just going to automate it? So those,
In one way or another.
So even if coal, let's say it does come back, this is gonna be some sort of machine. They're just gonna 3D print some sort of device. They're gonna just do that shit. Then you're still gonna be mad.
Yeah.
So then what you gonna say then?
Right.
Then it could be like, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's how it is right now with farming, in agriculture. They got machines that they have like a grid system that just does all the work for them. You got like one guy that just I only noticed because on a cruise, this dude from Nebraska told me how it worked. He said they had like a machine that literally just
I
those
got to
big
interrupt.
ass.
Why is some dude from Nebraska talking about farming on a cruise? What the fuck?
Bro, hey, it's called conversation.
Those are good conversations.
Yeah,
I need
That's
to
just
hear
like
that.
me being from the South talking about fried chicken and the Civil War or some shit. I'm just saying.
But that happened.
Yeah, I mean that's what he does. He does that. That's
Okay.
his 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like
So he took a
mom and pop's business.
Right. But
he's on vacation.
There's no
with his
machines
wife.
that can pick oranges, man.
Well, there's tariffs in farming too, though.
Okay.
That's the thing. So I mean, they're losing a lot of money too because they gotta pray that Trump knows what he's doing right now.
Why would you?
I don't know too much about the tariffs, but
I'm not an atheist, but I'm not going to pray for Trump. But,
a lot of the tariffs are against China.
No, but there's tariffs against Canada
and Europe too,
and tariffs against Europe and Mexico.
But recently, in the last couple of days,
Mexico,
it's been a back and forth between China and the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, China's going hard. Like They can go harder if they
they
want it.
control their economy more so than we do. So it's just
But
yeah,
they
don't care.
gradually saying, okay, if I do this, don't you see what's happening? What? You don't care? Okay, now I'm going to do a little more. Don't you see?
Exactly.
They're doing a gradual stage to say, you're stupid, but somebody sooner or later is going to tell you this isn't working.
Talking about poll numbers?
Back off. No, not poll numbers. The thing is, our prices are starting to go up. People are starting to complain. And all on these newses, on news, all on
like real old
news,
school.
they're showing, yeah, I know, that these companies are saying, I'm not going to be able to make my profit as much because I'm being taxed. And these tariffs, now I got to pay more
they picking and choosing.
for this stuff coming
You saw that iPhone got they got an exemption. Like that shit is straight manufactured in China.
But that's a phone.
And they just was like, you know what?
Yeah, you gotta let a phone get less tariffs. Why?
Just because iPhone popular, he wasn't ready to make that hit yet.
And then he wants what's the name to be on his side. So if somebody step up, Tim Cook is gonna be like, well, you know, he's doing his best. He'd be like, yo, dude,
you gotta buy a 1100 regular iPhone, and then 1,000 one is gonna be like 1,400.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm gonna be like them smash and grab people.
Ah, damn, dude. I have to edit that out.
Just hey.
Oh my God.
1,400
like
for a phone?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, nah. That's a computer. And you can get a laptop less than that. Jesus Christ. What the hell? Yeah. But the tariff situation, it's a slow burn that you're really not going to see until prices go up. And then when the media says something, then what the White House and administration going to do is divert to something else. And that's what's been happening with all these little things that the administration is continuing to talk about. Or the Supreme Court is doing crazy shit.
So how do y'all feel about media coverage of all these issues so far? Like in 2018, this is June now. What's the mid-year report in terms of your opinion of news coverage? Are we better than last year?
I think we're more selective this year. I'm not sure about better. I think it's a better selection because it's not. I don't hear a lot of worthless stuff, but I do hear there's enough information that's hitting, but it gets covered up with the next thing that's coming through. And that's what the administration and Trump is good at throwing something in front of a fucked up situation.
So I really like John Oliver because it's once a week.
Oh, he's fantastic.
But the once a week is important. So here's basically the NBA free agency is here. Everyone's trying to figure out what's going to happen. So I check articles. Oh, is LeBron going here or blah, blah, blah. And they just, because it's expected to have new content every day, they'll just make like it's bullshit articles. So-and-so says LeBron is going here. Motherfucker doesn't know anything. But the former player of the guy who hasn't played in the league for 10 years, who knows some other dude, had a conversation, and that's an article. But they're writing those articles just to feed the beast. So it's kind of like, but if you decrease the amount of content, then you decrease the amount of advertising dollars. You decrease the revenue of the industry. But I think decreasing the content is the only way, because not all of it. But you don't need like that much news. I do agree, quantity is a problem.
So you right, yeah. So you just think that like the stories just getting flooded, and it's like the selection is just it's not even quality.
So I mean, for example, I know Mike, you want to move on to the next thing real quick, but Melania's jacket. So in terms of that being a story, that doesn't matter. It was a fucking story.
But
I know.
But was it a story that you thought was something that you needed to read? So this is where I think an educated reader is the issue. I saw it, but I didn't even look into it.
That shit?
Yeah, I did. I didn't have to.
So you treat it like Jurassic World?
Yeah, I just saw it and then I moved on. You know what I mean? I moved on. Yeah. See, if you're an educated reader in this sense, because we're in the with the fake news and the Russian bots and all of that, I'm very careful about the unnecessary BS stuff that's going and that's just being written. I'm just very selective with it. So if something comes up and I'm saying, whoa, yeah, did you hear what her jacket said? No, and I really didn't care. Now, I read the first part that she was down there, and I
those
was
a
like,
decent amount
wow.
of coverage. So I'm more so criticizing or not, or just, I do think perception is an issue here. So if there's a perception that the media is making a story out of it, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
See, we're talking about the headlines mostly.
Okay.
That's see the old school way is to have a story. You know what I mean, and to dig in and find out the details and find out who's
Like reporting.
who's to blame
It's a
and who's the
report.
characters. Yeah, yeah. See, yeah, I feel like today's readers on the internet, they'll weed out however they want to weed out. So Mike, however you're looking at it's one way. Chaz, it may be the same as Mike or similar, but then there's others that go the complete opposite, and you might as well call those the Fox News or Trump supporters. So all they're doing is people look at things the same way. I think all you have to do is just get that headline out. So one of those headlines is Sarah Sanders, Huckabee Sanders, got kicked out of a restaurant.
So I read that though.
She created that headline,
but I didn't read a lot of it.
So why did you read that, Mike? What made you?
So I read that. No, see, now that's good. Very, very good question. Why did I read a stupid story about her being kicked out?
Well, first, two questions.
You think
what makes it stupid, or what made you read it?
Okay,
I
think it's stupid too.
Initially, it's stupid. So who cares if they kicked her out?
I did.
That's not my issue because but it has nothing to do with me personally. But it does because the Supreme Court said, hey, these people are allowed to not make a cake for a gay couple because they were gay. And now they made a choice that the Supreme Court said it's okay. So now that they did this with Sarah Huckabee Sanders, this was a political, hey, not religion, but political. I'm not serving these people with this political agenda. So it's a bigger picture. Now, do we tie that into what the Supreme Court says? If there's a lawsuit, is everyone else going to say, well, this happened here, here's a president, and it's going to relate to the Supreme Court issue? That's why I thought it was important.
I thought it was her. Now, you read more of it than I did, but I thought it had something to do with their workers didn't want to serve her. Like they didn't, they knew she was in the restaurant and they were like, yeah. And then the owner was like, I got to say something, took her outside. And then maybe I'm missing the details in between, but that's kind of what
I didn't even get that point because again, I'm not even getting into the details. I'm getting into that picture can say a whole lot because people are going to skim over the top and it looks like the owner came out and say, get the hell out of my restaurant. Because if you don't read all of it, that's what it looks like. And that's what people are going to perceive it to be. And then it's a disrespectful thing.
It's perception.
And it's in Lexington, Virginia. Like,
so what is Lexington? Is that red?
It's just all right. So I'll explain Virginia, right? So Virginia has pockets. It's literally everything you've probably heard of. Virginia Beach. Well, no, Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Hampton, Newport News, Richmond, and then all of the DC area. Yeah, well, not even kind of Roanoke, Blacksburg. That's blue. Everything else is red. Literally everything else is red in Virginia. Like 80% of the land is the key word is land is red. So Lexington, yes, that's red. Lynchburg, yes. All those other cities you hear in between, Chesterfield, whatever, that's right outside Richmond. So Lexington, if you hear like they kicked out Sarah Huckabee Sanders, it's kind of like that's the red flag a lot of people got, that I know when they saw that. They were like, damn, you got kicked out from Lexington? So that's kind of where some people, not just us reading it, but some are probably looking at it like, damn, in Lexington, like in Virginia? So it kind of makes it seem like even her own people aren't even like getting down.
But conservatives, true conservatives, are against Trump. And because when I see these news stories, these new shows, and I kind of read the conservatives, the old school conservatives, and they can't stand what's going on, that their party is being destroyed by the Trump people. So they do not like this. Right. Some of them are louder than others. Some of them are low key and do shit like that. They saying, I'm not like these people, but you putting us in that same boat as them, and they don't like it. I got guys that I know that will refuse to talk about it because that's not who they are. They expected something else, but it's not happening that way. So it's best to keep quiet and not have that conversation. And we got all the liberals going around, yup, that's what the fuck all the motherfuckers gonna lose their job. And they standing there like, shit, I can't say a word. I can't say nothing.
So I thought the story was the left was kicked her out. It was a liberal thing. So I thought, okay, the liberal are getting gangster now, trying to be gangster.
But I think that's what they tried to portray it as.
But she's saying this.
But again, it's Lexington.
It was a Mexican restaurant.
No, the Mexican was
DC. That was a DC chick.
Homeland Security. And they was protesting.
They was heckling her.
They was heckling her in the restaurant.
Banning immigrants. You like Mexican? What kind of shit is that?
Yeah, then you go eat Mexican
I hate niggas.
food.
Take them to a soul food restaurant. Like what?
Chicken and waffles. Chicken and waffles.
Come on, bro.
So you get what you get, and when people do that, it's kind of like, then they act like they shocked. Like Roseanne, I lost everything. She had to sign over her name to her show and say, you can have it. Because if she didn't do it, she would have turned around and looked like, oh, so you didn't even care about the people. We're trying to take care of the people and not just say they're going to lose their job because of you. But we can keep their job, but sign it over. She had to do it.
In terms of Roseanne, do you think they was trying to get Gwen Eiffel, or what was the one lady? They found her old blog post. Is it easier
on the show? On one of the
is it was MSNBC or something like that?
You talking about Joy Reid?
Joy, her. Is it easier to be racist if you're a person of color and get away with old racist rhetoric?
Of course it is.
I mean, when I heard about it, I was like, damn. Well. I mean, it's. It was just like, hey, she kind of already goes in, on her show.
Was it transgender or white people? I think she was talking about transgender people.
I don't even know the story. Like, I just knew that she said some shit.
So we just like regular voters. I don't know the story, but I bet it was fucked up.
That's what I try to say. It's all about the headline. The headline.
So there's things. I mean, he just said the same thing I did. There's plenty of content that's out there we're like, man, I'm not reading that bullshit, but I heard about it.
Yeah. So reporter has,
but I heard about
old blog posts talking about something like very specific targeted headline. Not what was Melania thinking? Like, oh shit, versus Melania's jacket creating, make some question or something like that.
So again, there's a level of detail of importance, and that's how I look at it. There's a level of details of how important is it? How truly important does it have impact beyond the story?
Now, when Trump was tweeting about the restaurant, I thought that wasn't funny, so I read it. So remember, he was like, the restaurant is dirty.
Yeah. and then he called out Maxine Waters because she just said, all you liberals, go find them in the restaurant and protest them in the restaurant. And she was outside with the microphone telling people to go do it.
Oh, for real?
And then he tweeted about that. Yeah, and he tweeted about that.
Yeah, he be on Twitter, boy.
I can't read his tweets anymore. I stopped.
I can only read it when they put it on TV.
They put them shits on TV, too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
And highlight them for you.
Those are headlines.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
President tweets.
Every single one is. Yeah, it's the same. I can't stand. So when you asked about the media, like what's their grade for year two? To me, it's I feel like it's not too far off from year one. I feel like they're not selecting the right stories. They're not telling the stories the right way. It just still feels like part of it is ratings, and then some are just following the currents. That's what other people they're trying to beat. Well, trends, yeah. So they're trying to just see what's popular and they run with it. I don't.
But you're right though. It's kind of like now I'm thinking back. It's kind of like I have to do the tweets because he's not going to tell us anything. He'll tell us more through his tweets than actually standing up and having a real conversation, because he can't do that. He can't keep what he says truthfully in his mouth.
The peanut gallery is making a good point, though. His ass be on Fox and Friends, though, giving all kind of interviews. So that's not true.
Well, that's the one place that he goes to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The one place he goes to that's going to support him and sit there and listen to him and knowing he's lying out of his ass. Or he says one thing at the beginning of the interview, and at the end of the interview, he changed it up and said something else. But he's not going to be challenged on it. So he's like, that's the best media ever.
And then the idiots are just like, for no reason, just because he said it.
Yeah, but they're not, I don't think they're that dumb. They just,
what?
No, like they know the game. They're playing the role.
Yeah, but that's criminal to me.
Well, if anything,
that's criminal to allow that to be propagated to everyone. Lies like that.
You say that until you start getting them Fox paychecks. Shit, we the number one rated.
Maybe they don't.
Our demographic.
Maybe they don't take
years
it
in a row?
seriously, though. You know what I mean? Like maybe they look at it like some people look at
Sports Center.
I was gonna say like. I was gonna be like, like you look at Transformers, the movie or something. They just
Transformers.
Yeah, they just love that shit, but it's terrible.
Bumblebee, it's fucking awful as fuck, right?
They just said Transformers.
Goddamn Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and shit, whatever the movie is.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. They just like them. They'll watch it and then they just move on. They don't, because that's all they do on Fox. Fox, they just say what they want people to hear. They say it loud. They make sure all the women got nice outfits on. Everybody's got.
It has a wrestling quality.
Yeah,
it sounds like you're describing the WWE.
Exactly. That's exactly. No, you're exactly right. Everybody's got the white pearls. Wow. The girls, the women. They got everybody got blonde hair. They try to show some kind of legs, and then they just
1950s style.
Hit them with the hard takes.
Yeah,
and then they run with it. And then by the way, tomorrow we'll have Trump on. And then you become a Trump fan for a week, and then we're going to have Trump on next week. And then Trump talks about how awesome. It's just a damn cycle, and they just eat it up. I don't think they
propaganda.
Yeah, they just move on with their lives, and they do their opioids. And
they get paid.
It's Fox.
Take their opioids.
That's terrible.
I know, you're right. You're right.
Flag on the play.
Hey. My bad.
Hey, that's what the statistics state. So sorry. You're just quoting the facts. That's all he's doing.
We're using facts now.
I went too far.
Yeah, facts. Alternative facts.
You said junky ass.
So the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court went into the travel ban again.
Yeah.
So they went back over that, and now they're going to be restricting Muslims into the country.
Wait,
everyone but Saudi Arabia, where all of the criminals are coming from.
How do you know you're Muslim again?
What do you mean?
Is it you have to be a citizen from the country, or
you got to?
How do you know you're?
No. I guess.
What? Why don't I just say no?
Exactly.
Well, if you look like a
Muslim,
Muslim,
what I'm saying. So
then
obviously,
they're going to say, "I'm sorry, you checked the wrong box." Because that's racism.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm from New Delhi. I'm from India, and I look how I look.
Mm-hmm.
I say no. I just have an accent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you're going to be detained because you will be questioned. Because if you under the same mentality as these racist people who said this is the policy to keep Muslims and terrorists out of our country, if you look like a terrorist,
okay, so
obviously, just like
so I got my tickets. So I got my ticket today, right? The cop says I didn't stop. I said I did stop. Who's right?
The
So
cop is.
I'm a Muslim. They say I'm a Muslim. I say I'm not a Muslim.
So the cop is.
He's right.
TSA
So what
is.
happens to
They're
me?
right.
I just got to go
So
back.
you be detained. You get detained until they can clarify it. And if they can take care of that and say, well,
But
I
you
guess you're
know the
not
people,
Muslim, I gotta
they're
let you
not
go.
like they're not Middle Eastern. Like
You can't.
they didn't study the Middle Eastern
It
cultures and
doesn't
that shit.
matter. It doesn't matter. They stop black people, they stop Jamaicans, they stop
True.
Africans, they stop anybody who's dark
brown.
They still
skinned
don't know though.
until they can confirm that, oh, wait a minute, you're not one of those regular niggers. Okay. Move along, goddammit.
Yeah, they unless
You're
the
good.
person that's like interrogating them is like a racist himself. Like you can't determine that somebody is a Muslim
You can.
unless they say yes. Like I can. Like what if they're lying? You know what I mean? Like so they're just gonna kick you out. And then what if they sue the country for kicking me out, but I'm not a Muslim, and then they prove it, and you know what I mean? Like it's just that I'm trying to thhrowing up.
You got to prove religion.
They call the White House. And
They
the
can
White
do
House
it now. Yeah,
pardon
that shit ain't gonna last.
Yeah.
It just,
So there's people who are racist, and then there's people who are afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who are afraid will look at anything that
that's the
scares
same
them.
person to me.
And well, okay, we can, but you got extreme people who are ignorant because they don't know the difference between a Middle Eastern person and an Indian or a Pakistani. They don't know the difference because of their ignorance, not because of their prejudice, but because of their ignorance. And because of their ignorance, that's what they're
but then
going to
you got Betty on the corner that won't let a 10-year-old sell some water bottles.
do. Ooh,
Is she scared or is she racist?
Who was selling? Also, she was selling weed as well.
Yeah. Oh, but that had
Did
nothing to
you
do
hear
with her
that?
though, because she good. She, you know, what I mean,
Oh, yeah, she good though. Yeah. So she wasn't afraid. That has nothing to do with afraid because her statements was she didn't have a permit. I don't want this black girl on
I
my
still
block.
think they're scared though. That's a whole like they're picking their battles. You know what I mean?
That's privilege. That's privilege. Black people doesn't have the privilege to be able to do these things. If that was a white child wouldn't be questioned.
Right.
Because we are privileged to be able to do this. This black person has to follow the rules, not
No,
us.
yeah, no, I got you. I'm saying it's all of the above is what I'm saying. So
okay, you just lump them all together.
I think that okay. So all right, so and
I'm okay with that.
and this okay. So there's entitlement. You know what I mean? There's prejudice. There's just the idea that they think their own. They're racist, right? So they just think that their own like white people should be
superior.
Supreme.
White supremacy.
So at the same time, when you start talking about like a black businessman or a person of color that's selling something on the block or chilling in the parking lot during their break or having a cookout, in Oakland, whatever, in a location that just looks like they're having a good time. They're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, they're having a good time in my territory. This isn't supposed to be like to me. That's some kind of level of fear, like. Some part of them just feels like this doesn't belong and doesn't feel right, and it's just not the kind of scare like a like they
I get you. I think it's an uncomfortable. Yeah. They're uncomfortable with that. I think when I'm saying fear is they know this is going to happen to them. You know what I mean? That these Muslims will hurt me or someone I know or our country because now it's bigger than that.
So the peanut gallery just piped in again with a good point. So I will say this about Trump. Trump is not racist if you're a celebrity.
No.
So how does... No. I find that interesting from a personality trait, just outside looking in, because I would feel like racism or discrimination would be across the board. So you think back, because a lot of rappers or whoever, would hang out or be at Trump functions back in the day. And it's kind of like rappers or whatever. And you'd be like, oh, so when you switch up, where did all of this come from? Are you doing this just to get in the White House or was it always there? Just because?
So I think it's a class situation with that, though.
Right.
So he's racist as fuck, though.
Obviously, right.
I'm sorry. Put that to the
housing
side.
Discrimination thing back in the day.
But he's still doing that, even with Mexicans and people from South America. He's still doing that. All they are good enough for is working for him. Black people, if you're a celebrity, those are the exceptions because these people allowed him to be a celebrity with them. So he was just a businessman, but he became a celebrity. And these people associated themselves to him. So he has an allegiance with them. And as long as they keep that allegiance together, he's going to say, you're good with me. You're good with me. Because he's part of that group. But he's racist as hell. There's always white people who say, you know what, I can't stand these black people, but you're an exception.
That's basically white women who would never date regular black dudes, but fuck athletes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's about right.
But you're right. You're right.
You got the groupies, yeah.
I guess I feel the type of way being in the South. Southern white women are, rich case waiting to happen sometimes.
That's everywhere, though. Yeah.
He said that's everywhere.
It's just the way it is. So, but the other one that they did was the abortion ruling, and I really didn't jump into that. Either. But they said that's really going to be something that they're going to kind of use nationally. It was a 5-4 margin that justice sided with the Anti-Abortion Crisis Pregnancy Center, saying California went too far in trying to regulate them. It sided with Christian Baker, who refused to bake a cake for the same year. We already know
they hate California.
Yeah. So that's why California want to be a whole separate country and shit. You know what I'm saying? But see, that one, it was that one that the Democrats was punking out and allowed kick the can into the next administration that we had it. We had it.
But you're definitely blaming Democrats for not getting Obama's pick.
And Obama being careful because he still assumed, I'm not going to worry about it. Hillary will take care of it.
Him and everyone else.
Yeah,
based
exactly.
On the numbers, I would say.
Yeah, but they were the Russian numbers. So
it's fucked up.
It's just what it is. So tune in next time when we get back into the level of politics with the Repo team and the Me Too movement with Christians. Pretty interesting. See ya.